All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patriots First and Goal Super Bowl Preview Edition, a game the Patriots are definitively not playing in. But that's all right. It's still one of the biggest sports days of the year. I've always said Monday after the Super Bowl should be a special national holiday. Everyone's exhausted and overly full and hungover, but that's a whole different podcast for my upcoming political campaign run in 2060. So keep an eye out for that. I'm Alec Shane here breaking down some Patriots news and some Super Bowl news with my good buddy, Rich Hill. Rich, how are you, buddy?
Good. I feel like it's been a good couple of weeks for the Patriots here. The staff has been figured out. We've gotten some good faces. I know we've broken down every one of Mike Vrabel's hires over the past couple of weeks. But actually, I don't know if we want to jump right into Alec. I feel good about where the team is at this point in time.
Honestly, so do I, my man. Again, as good as you can feel. Let's get to it. First and goal. Let's talk about the Patriots coaching staff here. The official list has been posted. The team has rounded out their staff. There's no new massive additions for us to talk about between this podcast and last one, but it's good to know they solidified every role they need. They've got their assistants and their specialists and all that good stuff. There's not like a single hire on there where I'm left scratching my head. In full disclosure, I don't know everybody like intimately in terms of coaching staff, where they're coming from. But the best part about it is, for me, there's really not a situation where I'm like, why is this person here? And that's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple broad strokes. They wanted to get a lot of really strong experience on the offensive side, a lot of coachings that have been around for a while and in different systems and have known what they've done, have had either head coaching roles or coordinator roles. So you have a lot of really good teachers here, a lot of really good experience. I think on defense, you got a lot of guys who are focusing very much on the fundamentals, playing tough football, that players or coaches that have coached players and been on defenses that are known for just their ability to stop the run. Some of the areas that the defense has been a little bit soft on in recent years. There's two things that I feel like are interesting to highlight and emphasize. One is that Ben McAdoo is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. He's the one that was helping Drake May with his progression from his quarterback footwork, everything like that. They moved him to the defensive side of the ball in a senior defensive assistant role, where he's going to be helping the defense from a perspective of how might an opposing offense target you. I think that's really cool. I think having that mirror image ability to kind of say like, okay, well, do we have any weaknesses here? What would you do about it? If you were on the offensive side, how would you attack this? I think that's just going to make the defense better overall. And I think on the offensive side, that experience, I'm very interested to see what Josh McDaniels is going to build from this offensive side, because all of those reports are that Josh McDaniels spent the past year with the Chiefs, with the Rams. So you got the Andy Reid offense, you got the Sean McVay offense. You have some coaches that have spent their time with Sean Payton. You have some that have spent their times like in the Schottenheimer offense. So you're getting a lot of different, Erwin, you got a lot of West Coast offense, you got your Perkins Earhart offense. You got a lot of different schemes that are going to come together to create what I think is going to be an offense that can attack any type of defense. And I really think this could be a really good place for the offense to grow.
Here's hoping, man. I mean, it can't get much worse. And the flashes they showed, if they can just get some more talented pieces in place, and the scheme is obviously very important, and finding the right players to execute that scheme. What I love of the fact about this is that by being able to solidify the coaching staff like this, it gives them basically from now, February, until the draft and free agency, like at least a month, if not more, to implement a system and then find guys that'll best fit that system. So it's going to be an interesting combination of taking the top free agents and just who's going to be a good fit. Maybe an old meets new kind of thing, where Patriots of old would basically, they know what kind of system they played in and they pick great fits on day 2 or day 3. The Rob Ninkoviches and the Mike Vrabels of the world back in his playing days, that would just be the Kyle Van Noys, the guy that just fits well in the system, versus just going out and getting that big sexy guy on day 1 that some guys always did and they never seemed to pan out. So maybe there's a nice kind of balance between the two. I don't want to see the Patriots just spend all their money at midnight on March 18th, whenever the first day free agency opens. But I want to see them target guys who are going to help them win, and having the coaching staff in place will do that. The two things I want to talk about, I guess maybe one thing and one question for you and one opinion of yours. One thing that surprised me at the coaching staff, I really thought Matthew Slater would be around in some capacity. Why do you think they let him go?
Why do you think they let them go? I think that they just wanted a fresh start. Right. You have a lot of players that Gerard Mayo hired that were former Patriots aligned thing that I know that Mike Vrabel is, but I think it was focused and indexed a little bit too much on I'm a player coach, as opposed to I have a role that is very clearly defined that will help contribute to our team's success. And a lot of the hires felt like friend hires, as opposed to this was the best person for the job. And who knows? Maybe Matthew Slater will be back in some capacity down the road. Maybe he just needed a fresh start. Would love to see him down at UNC with Belichick. But I think that I think it's in the best interest of everyone. Same with like Pellegrino, Brian Belichick. Everyone just needs to get a complete fresh start here, because the more that there are those trappings of this is just a continuation of 2024, 2023. I feel like the harder it is for the team to focus on building a new identity.
Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe it's a scenario where, this is kind of the coaching equivalent of burying the game ball after a really, really bad loss. And I just hope that I don't know what kind of presence Slater had in the capacity of, team leader, locker room breakdown guy. He wasn't even a player. Were players looking to him in some kind of, maybe he's not really that spiritual leader as a coach. I don't know. I'd love to see him back too, but that was kind of a surprising thing. I figured there'd be a role from him in some capacity. Speaking of roles in some capacity, there's a lot of rumors going around. They've been denied. There was talk earlier this week about Dante Scarnecchia being back with the Patriots in some capacities, like a consultant or a special limited coach. He has since vehemently denied those rumors. He says, no, I'm not with the team anymore. Obviously, I'm inclined to believe Scar in this one. Is there any chance this is a smokescreen where he's going to be around? The phone's going to ring once in a while, and maybe he comes on just to quote unquote watch practice and does some handwork with the offensive line, or is this all just one big pile of smoke?
Honestly, even if he just walks into the door, I will take that as a positive. This is like the Sean McVay just breathe the same air sort of equivalent, where there was that one offseason where someone who had a meeting once at one point in time with Sean McVay got hired as head coach, and that was like one of their taglines. Like, I feel like with the Patriots offensive line, I'm going to feel personally infinitely better if they're just like, they were in the same room as Dante Scarnecchia at one point in time in 2023. I'd be like, great, hire them. This player is going to be great. Our problems are solved. So I don't care how involved he is. I think if he's like, I don't have a role with the team, I'm inclined to believe him on this one. But if Doug Marrone was like, hey, what were some of your keys to success? I'm sure that Scar would be like, this is what the players responded to. This is what I focused on, and I will be a resource for you if you need it. But I don't think he'll be around in any official capacity.
No, I agree with that. But if he just comes back for a day and gives a talk, Belichick used to have Bon Jovi to practice. Let's just have Scarnecchia at practice, and he can just be around. And there's no way that man will be in the building and like watching offensive linemen run a drill and keep his mouth shut. There's just no way
able to help himself.
Yeah, so maybe they can just lure him back with the promise of free food or all you can drink, and then he'll just be forced to coach because it comes natural to him. Anyway, regardless, that's good stuff. The coaches are good, but what's not so good, Rich Hill, in my opinion, though it's not surprising, who's the second down? Hall of Fame class of 2025 has been announced. There are only 4 members of that class in a very, very small induction class. Usually it's 6 or 7, so I'm curious as to why it's only 4. Among those not inducted was the greatest kicker of all time, one Adam Vinatieri. I'm not surprised by this. I don't know if you are or not. Do I think he deserves to go on the first ballot? Yes, I do objectively think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I just don't think there's ever a scenario where a special teamer, a kicker, a punter, or like a return guy will ever get into the first ballot. And so I'm not surprised by this.
It's one where it's like I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like you have a bunch of old school guys in there, like in the MLB Hall of Fame, where it's like outside of Mariano Rivera, no one's ever been a unanimous first ballot player inducted. And it's just one of those like special teams players can't get in on the first try. If Adam Vinatieri, the league's all-time leader in points, cannot get in with his multiple just milestone, big stakes, momentous, Snow Bowl, Super Bowl, high stakes performances and production and moments. If this person who has won 4 Super Bowls cannot get in on the first ballot, no special teamer ever will.
No.
And it is truly disappointing because he's quite literally the best. Maybe some players are more efficient, but if anyone's like, who is the best kicker of all time? Unanimously, it's going to be Vinatieri. Unanimously, who's had the best career of any kicker in the NFL? It's Vinatieri. And if he can't get in on the first ballot, that's just, it's a real insult to the special teams side of the game, which is an entire side of a game.
Yeah, what's weird about it to me in this situation, like this is I'm not like some kind of Hall of Fame scholar, and I couldn't tell you every inductee or every nominee, but everyone that I've talked to, there's nobody that says Adam Vinatieri's not a Hall of Famer. He's not going to get in. Like he's guaranteed to get into the Hall of Fame. People that don't get in on the first ballot, I feel like there's a debate to be had. Should he be in? Should he not be in? Maybe there's just too many talented guys in this particular class. But like this is not a scenario where he got out talented by 3 other guys. Totally. Like I said, there were only 4 inductees into this. And so the only reason they didn't induct him was literally because he's a kicker and we can't do it right now. There's no other reason you can give me why he wouldn't get in, because it's not like maybe he's not a Hall of Famer. Let's keep the debate going. Like Eli Manning didn't get in. I think there's a debate. Is he a Hall of Famer? You can make a case for him not being a Hall of Famer. I think he is personally, but you can make a case why he's not. A bunch of mediocre seasons and 2 epic Super Bowls. That's a conversation. Yep. But nobody is like, Vinny's not a Hall of Famer. He doesn't deserve it. So why are you waiting for another year just for like formality's sake? It's really stupid in that way.
Totally. And like there's literally nothing that he could do as a player that would make him a better candidate for it. Like as you said, Eli Manning, a lot of mediocre years. Adam Vinatieri had multiple years as the best at his position in the league. He's the NFL like top 100 players of all time. He's been on all decade teams. There's literally nothing that says like he is a player has something worth scrutinizing. The only thing that can say he is not worthy of the Hall of Fame is a bunch of people in a room saying kickers shouldn't get in. That's it. It has nothing to do with his performance. It has to do with a perception of his position, a perception of his entire, special teams. And that to me is just so narrow-minded. It is indicative of a problem. And what I would love to see come out of this is a big shift in how the voting's done, a big shift in how the position, how the Hall of Fame is approached. Because if Adam Vinatieri, the greatest at his position, at an important position, one that has all of the blame or all of the success put on their shoulders for key moments, if that type of a player can't get in on the first ballot, then what are we even doing here?
Yeah, it's weird. The Hall of Fame, I think, is about not just putting up numbers and being all-time great at your position, but it's just like there are certain narratives. I think one of the reasons people are advocating for somebody like Julian Edelman to get into the Hall of Fame, who's not some kind of world-beating numbers receiver, but in terms of the narrative that is the NFL saga, he plays a very important role. So he's eligible next year, technically. That's a conversation to be had for later. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but anyway, I don't want to get to that. But like in terms of just every box you should need to check off for a NFL Hall of Famer, Vinatieri checks that box off. And I think he's guaranteed next year he's in. I think he's in next year. Him and like Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald and those guys are all going to get in next year. And that's going to be awesome. It just seems silly to me that he's off the first ballot for the sake of being off the first ballot. I'm also curious why like Luke Kuechly didn't get in. That's a very weird one for me. I'm very curious to hear in the coming weeks why they only elected 4 into the Hall of Fame when it's almost always 7. They deliberately left 3 guys off this year that usually don't do. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's one where it's like, if Patrick Willis got into the Hall of Fame, well, why didn't Luke Kuechly? That makes no sense to me. I think that, I think Patrick Willis is amazing. I thought Luke Kuechly was better. It makes literally no sense to me. There's no justification for it. I imagine that a lot of it is just going to come down to like, a lot of these people shouldn't come in on the very first try. So like, make them go through it again. And that to me feels just pretentious. Honestly, it is just a matter of pretension as opposed to anything that the players have done. And it just makes me roll my eyes.
No, it does. But what can you do? Regardless, so congratulations to Eric Allen finally getting in. Only took you 19 years, kind of the opposite direction, Adam Vinatieri. Jared Allen, totally deserving. Antonio Gates, really glad to see him in. Guaranteed slam dunk there. And Sterling Sharp, that was really cool. Good for Sterling Sharp. I remember very well Shannon Sharp's induction speech. We talked about, I'm the only player in the Hall of Fame. I'm the second best player in my family. It was a pretty cool line. And Shannon got to give him the news, which is cool to watch. So congrats to those four. Vinatieri, you'll be joining them next year. Don't worry. Sorry you didn't get a first ballot, but what can you do? At least Eli Manning has to wait too. It's a little Patriots fan talking. But that's kind of all I got on the Hall of Fame. We're both kind of pissed off about it, but what can you do? That Hall of Fame is the past. Let's talk the future. Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all because you just pick more or less and at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is almost here. You know what's happening. It's now or never. So don't miss out on the last football game of the season with the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is giving away a free pick for this game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. That means if you're correct on at least one more stat projection than that, you win real cash. So check out the promos tab to tail any of our Super Sweat Millie winners in big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of a $1 million in promo funds. So definitely check that out. Sign up today and you'll get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to get that bonus. It is guaranteed. So just download the app and use code CLNS to get that bonus instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, so it's 3rd and goal now, Rich Hill. Super Bowl preview, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to predictions at the very end. I guess the first question I'll ask you, is there any part of you in any capacity that's excited for this game in any way?
If I had to choose the things that I want to see, I want to see Saquon Barkley go for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. That is the one thing that is making me interested in this game, is that it feels like Saquon Barkley is on a real mission for this year, and he is saying all the right things. I don't know, he had that backwards hurdle jump this year, which to me is like the play of the year. Like if there's going to be one highlight from this year that continues to get replays, it's going to be that one. That was just like, he's done everything that, like, if you have the postseason highlights, that, you know, the We Are the Champions, the Dynasty, Do Your Job, that like biographical picks, like Saquon Barkley is doing everything, giving you all the quotables. He had the chance to set a career high, and he said, no, I want to ride the bench, let the young players get their opportunities. Hey, I don't need to play in the finale, even though I could have set the all-time record. He is doing everything that can make you root for him. Other than him, I don't care.
Yeah, if you can just root for, I guess it's like I like rooting for the Patriots, but I don't care about the NFL anymore. It's kind of same kind of thing, right? I think the narrative is Barkley. It's tough because my wife is and my father-in-law are both diehard Cowboys fans, and so they are very aggressively rooting against the Eagles, as they should. I get that. And I think there's an attractive narrative with Barkley, and there's an attractive narrative with a team three-peating. I think that's a really cool thing. That's impossible to do in the NFL, and I can acknowledge it's a very special thing. But it's funny. I feel like with so much of my adult Patriots football watching life, I was either rooting for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, or I was like rooting against Peyton Manning to win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Or like rooting against Ben Roethlisberger to win the Super Bowl. So I always had some kind of rooting interest. It's been or it was a rare time when I'm actually kind of relieved I don't have rooting interest. I can actually enjoy the game for once. Those are kind of the buckets I was in. I've never just been like, I have zero interest in this game whatsoever. I am completely apathetic. I'm not going to go to a party. I'm going to have it like on, but I'm not going to like sit down and watch it and pay close attention. It just seems like A, I don't really care about the teams, and B, we've talked about it, Rich, there's just an inevitability to this game where I kind of already know what's going to happen. And it's more just like how it's going to get there. You know, instead of like the 2000s Patriots where they're going to go 12-4, the only mystery is how they get to 12-4. For me, it's like, I know what's going to happen. The only mystery is how we get to that end result, which makes the thing less exciting to me personally.
Yeah, I mean, you just jogged my mind on this when I was going through the Rolodex of the past Super Bowls, and you're like, yeah, the ones where you don't care who wins or not. And I'm like, I feel like the Joe Burrow, Sean McVay Super Bowl was the only one I can think of over the past 25 years where I was like, I truly didn't care who'd win because both of them would have been cool. right? Like I feel like the Ravens won, Ravens 49ers. I wanted the Ravens to lose. That was peak Patriots Ravens rivalry. As you said, anytime that the Steelers, anytime that Peyton Manning was in the Super Bowl, I wanted them to lose. That pretty much is every single Super Bowl dating back to 2002. And I mean, like Raiders, Bucks, or I just didn't care at that point because I was, I don't know, it was way too early to have an invested stake in the same way that, the reason you root against Roethlisberger and you root against Peyton is like, well, how does that compare to Brady? Kind of a thing. And the same way that I'm like, I don't want Mahomes and the Chiefs to win. So I have a vested interest in this because I don't want him to surpass Brady. I think that the Burrow-Rams one might be the only one that I can think of that I truly did not have a rooting interest.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Ravens-Niners game. I was rooting for the Niners, but I wasn't like anti-Ravens. I liked the Ravens in terms of like the football they played. I enjoyed that. I was also kind of thinking of like, or at least if if the team you lose to wins it, there's that narrative. I had completely actually forgotten about the Joe Burrow McVay until just now. So yeah, that's I know there are a lot of people who have a lot of emotional capital invested in this game. There are a lot of people that are going to be saying Mahomes is the GOAT if he three-peats. There's going to be an insufferable debate about which dynasty is better, the Chiefs 2021 to 2024 or the Patriots 2000 to 2019. Kind of weird, but again, I get that narratives exist. I just feel like this is not going to be an objectively – I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to come on here this week and eat crow. I'll be happy to. I still think this is going to be like one of the all-time great Super Bowls. People aren't going to be talking about it the way they were talking about, like 28-3 or, the Malcolm Butler interception. It's going to be more Patriots-Rams Part 2 where just a highly boring game is kind of predictable and it kind of just happens.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I feel like over the past – honestly, since the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl, I don't know if there's been are there like iconic moments in any of these past few Super Bowls that you can really think of? I can't think of like this is the moment that people will go down in history being like, wow, like the Julian Edelman catch is part of 20, even the Julio Jones catch. Like there's so many moments in those ones. Broncos, Panthers, the Cam Newton fumble. There's things that people were talking about. I can't think of a play from the past few Super Bowls that would make me really consider that. Even when Brady beat the Chiefs, it was a shellacking. So I think that it's a little bit boring. If they both teams come out and they both have the potential to do this, and you remember like that Chiefs-Rams game from, I don't know, was that 3 years ago? It could have been more recent, could have been further away, but when it was like 52-51 or something like that, if this is that game, if it's a boat race, I think that would be a lot of fun. That could be a saving grace that both teams have the potential to do that. But if this is going to be one of those, like we win 21-17 and, we played conservative football and there are no turnovers. We ran the ball really well. And Patrick Mahomes dinked and dunked his way down the field for a game winning something or other. I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever is a good word for it. Hopefully you're not saying whatever if you're going to the game. And if you did, hopefully you bought your tickets on Game Time because that is still the best place to get tickets. If you want to pay through the nose for tickets, you can do it on Game Time. But you can also get tons of other great deals on sports that are not just football. Hockey season's in full swing. Baseball season's around the corner. The NBA is here. Plus there's concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. Game Time has got it. And it's super easy to use and a lot of access to anything you want to see. Curated deals make it easy to find the best price on great seats. You get seat views before you buy, on-time ticket delivery, and a lowest price guarantee. Of course, the all-in pricing, my favorite feature, allows me to see exactly what the total is up front with no surprise fees, extra taxes, and all that extra expense at checkout. Plus, tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And if you can find a lower price, they'll credit you 110% of the difference, which is pretty awesome. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Download the app, create an account, and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I can't imagine people are buying tickets for the Bowl now. They're probably already there, but you never know. Rich, I know there's an illness going around right now in the Eagles locker room. I wonder if that's going to affect things. I don't know if I've heard personally, because I've been blacking it out, I have not heard a whole lot of Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift noise. So that's a big win for me. Super Bowl week. I guess the last thing we'll talk about before we get the fourth down and predictions. I don't know if you saw this. Really drives me nuts. We talked about this a little bit on our last week's podcast. There was a reporter who was asking Mahomes and Travis Kelce questions about, like, what's your favorite fake penalty to get? Is it like the phantom 15-yard penalty calls, or is it like I just don't know how this narrative about the Chiefs getting all the calls has gotten so out of control. And maybe as a Patriots fan who has sympathy for anybody who has to waste 1 second of a championship offseason defending their team's victory in any capacity from those who exist just to take down greatness, put things in perspective that shouldn't be put in. It drives me nuts. If you win the Super Bowl, you should have nothing to do but enjoy and celebrate. I don't understand how the Chiefs get all the calls. Referee nonsense has gotten so out of control.
Yeah, I mean, there's also an element of, like, good teams get a good whistle. That happens in every sport.
You earn
right?
it.
Like, yeah, and when you're in an offensive-driven league, whistles benefit the offense. And I think when you look at this year, I don't think people are really going to be like, the Chiefs only got to where they are because of these individual calls. They got here because a lot of weird things went their way, but it was like the opposing team missed a 17-yard field goal, or like your team somehow hit the uprights like 5 times and found a way for it to go in. It was the weird things where if it's less than a coin flip, somehow it got heads every single time for you. And yeah, maybe they had a few things go their way. And I don't like when Mahomes is searching for the flag. I find that really obnoxious. And I find that's, I think Brady got that reputation of complaining to the referees, even though he had the fewest quarterback or, unnecessary roughness penalties drawn of like any quarterback of the past 20 years. But it's one where it's just like, they're doing it because they don't make mistakes. They're in the Super Bowl because they don't beat themselves. And that is what makes Andy Reid such a great coach. And when you combine a top 3 quarterback of all time with a top 5 coach of all time, you're going to have a lot of success, especially when there's a dearth of teams that do a good job of not hurting themselves. And every team along the way has found a way to trip on their own feet or find a reason to have a mistake. And the Chiefs have played the cleanest football at the highest stakes moments. They're playing and peaking at the exact right time. I hope that they fall on their face in the Super Bowl and that the Eagles win by 40. That would be very enjoyable for me. But no, I mean, they're doing everything the right way from a what does it take to win.
The one conspiracy theory I will not believe but will enjoy watching take place should the Chiefs lose on Sunday is the one where the NFL wanted to get the Chiefs to the big game because Taylor Swift is involved. And it'll put more butts in the seats and get more people watching because Taylor Swift fans are absolute insane maniacs. And once they're there, they'll just let the game unfold as it would. And if they get smoked, it'll be such a ridiculous thing. See, you got carried by the refs all the way. And then once Taylor Swift got the ratings, the Eagles just stomped on you. That'll be very enjoyable. It's going to be stupid and nonsensical, but most conspiracy theories are.
It's like pure WWE stuff right there. And yeah, I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, I mean, football, I mean, it is, as we'll say, I would love to see a couple things come out of the season. If there's a situation where the rules are weird, a team capitalizes on it, they change the rules, great. That's smart football. That's good coaching. The Patriots were very good at that, finding loopholes in the rules. And if the league changes the fake slide of the out of bounds to next year, all right, that's not this year. That's fine. And I would love to see the refs hold press conferences once in a while. I think that's a good idea. I don't think it will go very well for them, and it shouldn't be every single week. But maybe a couple times a season, there could be like a town hall where refs have to talk about the calls they make. They're human beings. I don't want them to get in trouble, but maybe we'll reevaluate at the end of the season that things didn't go right this year, and maybe they'll be recalibrated for next year. But
really, just have like a little bit of that focused conversation of like, okay, what's the feedback that you've been getting? You know, that happens in everybody's job. You know, after Q1, after the first 4 games of the season, what has been the feedback on what you should be focusing on as a referee? Okay, how are you going to do it? Cool. Can we make sure that every single stadium has the same camera angles? Maybe that'd be fun to do, but no, we can't do that. So yeah, I agree that the ref should have some time to kind of explain what their focus is on, even if it's just to humanize them a bit.
Well, as we get to 4th and goal, Rich, the last official 4th and goal of the 2025 season, it makes sense that the last 4th and goal is the prediction of the last game of the Super Bowl. I know what you hope already because you've been very clear on what you hope is going to happen, but I don't know. I'll have to go back and check in retroactive. I don't know who won our season-long Patriots prediction. I should have prepared ahead of time in retrospect, but that's all right. I'll go back and count. But since I failed to do that, I will give you first pick in predictions of Super Bowl. Chiefs three-peating, or the Eagles going to crush the dream? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, first off, thank you for not doing your homework, because then you would share with the whole world that you won like 16-3 on the year, something preposterous like that, including the preseason. I mean, I think that the Chiefs are going to win. I firmly believe that in the same way that going into the season finale for the Patriots, that they were going to mess up their chance to get the first overall pick. Like, every fiber in my being was like, Patriots aren't, like, this season has never said, has, like, all the stars have not aligned to give the Patriots the first overall pick. All the stars are aligning for the Chiefs to three-peat, for Travis Kelce to propose to Taylor Swift after the game on midfield in front of everybody. Absolutely, that's what's going to happen. I have the Chiefs winning this one something like 21-17, as I mentioned.
I'm groaning because you're so right. I didn't think about a Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift halftime or post-game proposal, but that's 1,000% going to happen, which will only lead credence to the theory that the refs wanted the Chiefs to win that game because that gives more ratings to the NFL. So now either way, Chiefs win or Chiefs loss, there's conspiracy theory to be had. That would be nauseating, even if the Chiefs are winning their first Super Bowl and there wasn't three-peat talk. But like, everything about this is going to be profoundly unlikable for everybody outside Kansas City. And that's just the reality of it. And I'm not knocking the Chiefs for that. That's just, you've earned that right to be one of the new most hated team in sports. Good for you. I'd like to think the Patriots, even if they're most obnoxious, were not this unlikable, but I'm obviously very biased, so I can't say that.
Oh, they were. They definitely were.
All right. So we're in good company. But yeah, I don't see the Chiefs losing this game. I just hope, like I said, I hope that the Chiefs win legitimately, and there isn't some phantom holding call that calls back a Saquon Barkley 80-yard TD, or there isn't some like clear catch ruled an incompletion or vice. I want like a legitimate, clean, no debate about it. The Chiefs won this game. I can deal with that, no problem. And I'll go a little higher. I'll go like 28-20 on a failed last-minute kind of Jalen Hurts comeback drive that falls short to give the Chiefs the game.
Yeah, I feel like that tracks. I feel like fundamentally, I think that there won't be a big feeling of stakes in the fourth quarter. That's kind of just my gut, is that the wheels will fall off the Eagles by or right around halftime. But hopefully we're wrong. But I feel pretty comfortable in saying that this is going to happen with the Chiefs. They're going to win 3 in a row, 4 out of the past 5. In my mind, I'm ready for this. That's the best dynasty in NFL history. I'm okay saying that. Brady's still the better quarterback of all time, but 4 out of 5 is without a doubt the best dynasty in NFL history. I'm fine saying that. So ready for that debate and ready for it to kind of just be like no, you're right. That be the end of the conversation. 6 Super Bowls, 7 Super Bowls for Brady. Still a more impressive overall team achievement. Dynasty wise, that's not really a debate to me. Yeah, 3 in a row. Patriots never did that. 4 out of 5. They never did that. Sounds good to me. I'm ready for that just to be over.
Yeah. One thing that drives me nuts about the kind of the Patriots Brady debate's always been like, you can just present people with legitimate, concrete, this happened facts. And they're like, no, I'm not going to accept that. Tom Brady sucks. He's overrated. I'm like, all right, man. You got to give credit where credit's due. I like Mahomes. I'm a Mahomes fan. Like, I like watching greatness unfold. I just don't think the Chiefs are a very likable team, but they're going to win, and there's nothing we can do about it. So you may as well just suck it up and try and enjoy yourself.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll regroup next week, end of the season, heading into the offseason, really getting a sense of what are the Patriots going to do for the offseason. But until next time, Alec, you have a good one.
You too, buddy. See ya.